You know, and you know what I want to say this is just as I was saying this, we say it so much. I was glad when they said,
Unto me.
let us
Go.
go. So two things had to happen. They had to say it, and then you got to go. So I want to just tell you those action words as you get ready for your Faith-Filled Friday.
Thank you, God.
Say it and go. And so today we're going to say a lot, and we charge you with this. Go.
Yes.
Go.
Go.
Go. So no matter what happens, I'm going to say this, and y'all going to get it, some of you. My mic sounds nice.
Check one.
I'm glad I can say and go. My mic sounds nice.
Check
Two.
Yeah, somebody got it right. My mic sounds nice.
Check two.
Check three. Are you ready?
Come on,
It's me,
No,
WJT.
Uh-oh.
I am here in the place to
Come on,
be.
come on.
We're not talking about geology.
Uh-huh.
We are talking about
G.O.D.
kind of G-O-D. It isn't all about me. The Holy Spirit is inside of you. Don't you want to know him too? Here is where you get it. Right now, my boo is rise up and pray, rise up and up. Yeah,
We
man.
got salt in the house, salt and pepper.
I had to bring a little something because that's what I'm saying. We get to say and go.
That's that good 90s energy.
That's
Thanks,
that good
guys.
90s energy. Okay, so January 31 is the last day in January 2020. How about so glad you coasted? I thank God for you this morning. It is Rise Up and Pray. HOH family, what it do?
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop.
And
Good
Hold
morning.
on, let's try that again. If you're in the house, you're part of the family. HOH family, what it do?
Already.
Throw up the H's for the hope.
All day.
We're having a little good time this morning, and we want to thank you for your patience as we had so much fun getting started. And we are loving you this morning.
Yes.
So with that said, I'm not alone. I know, right? I was doing a little something. And hey, at 7, it's even better than freestyle. But I want to give a shout out. It's a full house in here this morning, and we're going to get to figure out how to turn these cameras all the way around. But first, YouTubers, how do you get out?
Well, you can always go. Oh, you said L. Good morning. You can always go to Hope Over Her Nation on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share.
Say it again, real sexy,
Hope
sweet.
Over Her Nation. Subscribe, like, and share.
Say it real happy like a cartoon character.
Hope Over Her Nation and subscribe, like, and share.
You see what this is?
Oh, yeah, she is so good.
girl.
See that? Uh-huh.
Don't pull it
speaks
out.
volumes right there.
Call HOH
Yes.
77.7
Oh,
at
yes.
401-646-4777. If
And-
you want to get your cartoons done, your
Yes.
characters done, you want movie inserts with those type of dynamics
Voiceovers.
and voiceovers, yes, call us.
4016 HOH 777.
Yay! All right, see there? And so with that said, she's giving all that, and there you need to look at the camera. Now you know who you're looking at. You got to go to YouTube to see all this. And I want to just give a shout out, Miriam on the ones and eights, kind of, sort of.
Co-pilot.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no. Where's the top of the
Hold on.
rise, guys?
This is what
Come
I
on,
got.
man.
Mirror. 1, 2, 3. This was it. No, do it again. Mirror.
What's good? What's good? Top of the rise. Hope
That is
everybody's
literally
doing
what she
great.
did. Do you see my face?
Oh.
It was like, wah, wah.
Yeah, well, you know, they had some technical difficulties
It's
this
all right.
morning, so they got their
Situated,
technical
you know,
hats on.
But God said, say and go. We're good, man. We're
Amen.
good. We're good. You hear what I'm saying? We're
Live
good.
fire.
Good.
What? We're good.
Good.
Oh, Domika's on the Hope Over Her Nation.
Hey,
Said good
Domika.
morning,
I'm
HOH
looking at
family.
several people over here on Lafayette. Look at this. Lafayette family's over here too. Domika, Danica family, man.
Hey.
John Brown is on.
John
That's
Brown.
a testimony in itself.
John Brown.
Yes, I'm just saying.
Had
So
a
good
hammer
morning
in
to
his
him.
hand.
He got a
John Brown has a hammer in his
shout out Virginia, Dallas.
Bless
What
you,
is
John.
happening? Okay, and you can hear that's in Zinga's voice.
Elder.
Z, what's up?
Elder.
Hold on. Say what?
Hello.
Eller?
Oh, hola.
Hola. Buenos días. ¿Cómo están, muchachas?
Muy bien, gracias. Hola, ¿dónde?
It's an English station.
Where you at? Es muy cansado.
Oh, translations on Hope Over Her Nation.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what up, fam?
Yeah, what up, though? And therefore, we're going to go ahead and say our good morning to you, Matthew. Can I
What's
just
the
say, Matthew,
dealio,
your last name is
Matthew?
now Mark. Luke and
and
John.
John.
What's the
Morning,
deal?
good morning.
Hey, punk. Okay, hello, Matthew. How are you, Matthew?
I'll call it pumpkin.
You're precious.
I was gonna say she had that look like I just want to squeeze his cheeks.
So that was me all day yesterday. It was bad. I was like, baby, talking to me. Where you at? I was like, oh, no, I am really 21. Yeah. But it's good to have you in here.
It is.
We got Robert back in the house, everybody. Robert, I don't, listen, I'm about to put you on blast, but you didn't even know it.
Okay.
Low key, we don't know your dating situation totally, but I have an idea of what my spirit has told me. But let me just put it like that. He was trying. The Bachelor and the Bachelorette came to life yesterday on a couch in a lobby, and your name was all in it. I'm just saying. And so literally, it was like, okay, would that be a good fit? Like it was a thing. So I want you to know. You might be part of a
Robert,
whole Bachelor.
if you're not ready, please say so.
Please say
because,
so.
When the word comes down, it usually makes things happen. So
Uh-oh.
just make sure.
But I'm just saying. So it was like the mother of the daughter was there, and your name was. Are you a possible suitor? I am not kidding.
Suitor.
It was a real situation.
Are you gonna come?
I brought your name up, so I'm
Sure
sorry.
did. Right there, right there. So I don't want to
I
let you
thought
know.
about you.
So just in case, I'm just saying, if you dating somebody, I'm sorry. It would. I ain't saying. See.
All I'm gonna say is Beezy the one that invited my husband to church before he was my husband.
And not
4 months later,
They was
they
married.
We were married.
So much later.
Yeah.
So I need a miracle then.
No, you just
You in the
just
miracle
see,
place,
You in the
brother. You in the
miracle
miracle
place,
place.
brother. But see, people don't understand that, and that's why I'm so happy to be back home, because I'm in a place where we can say that and it's
Yes.
cool, right? I feel like it's been forever. BT, you in the house?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. good
Financial
morning.
Fitness Friday.
Financial fitness.
You brought Robert Keenan back in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
So that's your name, Matthew. I want you to know that it's Matthew.
You
Mark,
brought him
and
back.
John.
I did.
I'm excited.
The gospel.
We all are excited to have him every time he's present. So we're
I'm telling
excited
you.
to have him here.
Yes.
Why? Okay, so this is what we've got going on. A whole lot to tell you. We got stories going up. We have things to celebrate. And I got to figure out how to switch all these cameras around so that y'all can get it. So tell you what, we're going to take the real quick break because we have to stay up on the track at least to some degree. And when we come back, more from Bishop, more about what happened at NRG, and more about your money and how it works in your life and what you can do even where you're at with little, a lot, or maybe not. Keep it here.
Listen
Don't
to
go nowhere.
Listen at you, Miss Slogan.
Non-private. You look like Munchkin. Oompa, Okay,
This
that's
moment,
one camera. Hold on.
this
Thank you
time,
so very much for tuning in.
this day,
Make sure you tune in to Hope Over Her Nation on
we've each been given
download.
Hey, good morning.
Anybody also in podcast, advertising, have their own segment here. Station, we're a full-out radio station, so make sure that
With the monitors work.
take us to refuge.
Y'all can see.
Help us understand the very essence that He created us in.
Friday, so if you're
This is the time. This is the moment. This is the atmosphere.
Very good morning, Naughty. Good morning, Aquarius. Series on the Mrs. Scott, Tony. Hi, Stephanie.
About my Father's work.
We have been having the secrets. We have been having to fight the secrets.
Raise your stand up. A lot of it. That way we can.
Okay, so I miss my grandbaby.
You are, but it's so cute.
I've been baby talking to everybody. I don't know what that's about.
Yes.
But I can't tell. Turn it back
Y'all
towards
good?
you. 20 seconds, y'all.
See you first.
Okay, turn it to the left. Turn it around a little bit. Okay, turn it around a little bit. The other way. Yeah. No, the other way. A little bit more. More. I'm getting all the back of his head. Okay. Leave it right there. Here we go. 10 seconds. We're
There
alive.
we go.
Here we go.
And I'm about to have to put some hip hop in the background of that
Here we
because I'm
go.
feeling my song coming in hot. I'm feeling it bad in my spirit.
You know, you ain't came in hot in a minute.
That's what I'm saying. I'm feeling a little lag here. I don't know what this is about.
Time to bunny hop,
It
guys.
is. You're listening back to HOH Digital Radio 77.7. This is Rise Up and Pray. I'm Wendy J. Turner, inspirational architect, lover of all of you in this room, man. And Hope Over Her says love is
Our arsenal.
And if you understand what arsenal is, you know it's what you use in a toolbox when it's time to give something that's of power, right?
Right.
And we shoot out love, expecting it to do a mighty work, amen?
Yes,
A
amen.
mighty work. So we say in here, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, love is our arsenal. Booyaka! See that?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's
no,
okay.
we
That's
don't.
a bad word.
But no,
No.
booyaka is not a bad word.
Thank you.
It's
Boom.
not, but it just didn't.
It
never
does.
Mind, never
Ooh,
mind. Okay,
ooh, ooh,
okay,
ooh, ooh.
okay.
Who remembers the song? And the beat goes boom, 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 boom. And the beat go boom, 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 boom,
See,
boom. Y'all
I,
remember that?
I know a
Oh,
Little Wayne
ouch.
song that goes and the beat goes boom, 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 boom.
I can
But
get
it's
with
a
that.
it's a different kind of beat.
Yeah, we
though.
gotta
It's a
watch it when
different
your
kinda
beat
beat.
comes.
Your beat
comes.
is-
Ain't no
You
telling
dropped
what's
the
about to
bomb
drop
on
after that one.
Circa 83. That's all right.
Sorry.
She dropped a beat was like, okay,
Yeah,
prayer
it was-
But I'm
ears
with
up.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
remember you did get
Yeah,
she got you.
so,
You got kicked
okay.
out the
Yeah.
talent show.
I got
with
the whistle
HOH.
blown that
You
time,
no, she actually grabbed you and said, "Go."
Yeah.
Was it her or was it Jay? You
No,
grabbed
no,
somebody.
that was me.
Okay,
I
you
was
got kicked
MC
off.
Light that
yeah,
year.
but it was bad. 'Cause that was, so
No, that day you
Yeah,
MC
I
low.
know, ma'am,
You
got
MC
kicked
low.
off.
It wasn't no light.
Listen, we had a talent show.
like-
Old school part. Robert, you all right? You good? We had a talent show for real. She was the referee because she wears a referee. It's bad. When you dance out of order, you get out of. She's right there at our parties. Well, she decided they were doing a I don't know, a
We were
lip
doing the
sync.
talent show, yeah.
And she got out of order with her words and everything. And 8100 came out from that Southeast. She said goodbye, get off, walk
Yeah, I
away.
got it.
This one
I
here
didn't
said
even
I
get,
ain't even know.
I didn't even get to the
Fifth
chorus
Ward
yet.
met the Southeast, and Fifth Ward took care of the Southeast. Let's put it that way. That's how that went. It was
You don't have to use that analogy. We don't really like how that sounded.
but it was true, baby. That said, Bishop.
Uh-oh.
Bernadette, 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 Bernadette. Ah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bishop.
Oh,
How
what are we
y'all
gonna
doing
do?
this morning?
I don't know right now, man. She was cleaning with Clorox when I walked in.
I
and
had
that's
to.
right.
That's
Sad.
like
Good
keep all
job,
y'all
Bishop.
well.
Good job.
We got a lot of people come up in here. We got to keep everybody well.
That's right.
Got too
Man,
many people
thank
out
you.
sick. Absolutely.
Thank
You might smell a little Clorox, but you're going to go away clean.
That's all right. It makes me feel like we're
That's what
protected
it
in some
is.
way. You know, Journey. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Absolutely.
What's going on, sis?
You know, I said, you asked me that earlier. I said, I don't know if you want to hear about it, but, you know, you've been fighting this all week and then some. But there was a story that came out on Fox News, unfortunately, that a man out of Minnesota was convicted Tuesday of raping his girlfriend's 4-year-old twins and giving them a sexually transmitted disease. It says Arturo Macaro Gutierrez, who was at the age of 36, was arrested in October 2018 after one of the girls told her grandmother her daddy hurt her. This is what the Pioneer Press says. And so the girl was taken to the hospital and was tested positive for gonorrhea. Gutierrez was arrested after SWAT found him in the attic, hiding in St. Paul, Minnesota. He denied raping the 4-year-old girl, but was charged after he tested positive for gonorrhea as well. He was subsequently charged with assaulting the girl's sister when she was tested as well. So right now, you know, the defense says they have not made a comment on the verdict because, you know, it's hard to talk to the kids because they're young. And they can't get a full story from them. But he has been arrested and convicted. So, like I said, didn't know if we want to talk about this, but you've been fighting this all week. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, sexual assaults, and things like
So
that.
tonight, and it doesn't stop.
No,
Tonight, be at the Bayou Ballroom for human trafficking, and in this case, what he's done is just straight up abuse, and just the abuse that comes and associates itself with human trafficking, sex trafficking. But I don't know, you know, what would have happened to them in the interim. But I think that they stayed in one location, maybe. However, I'm not sure he could have trafficked them online, meaning letting people see what he did. You just don't know if there was that component. What I do know is that that's domestic violence. And what I do know that, what's his name again?
Gutierrez, Arturo
That's all I need.
Gutierrez.
Can we write that down, please? Because see, what happens with and this is what we do know from the inside, and I have a possible witness. When certain folks come in to certain crimes of certain nature, and the inside finds out of the certain kind of crimes you've done to hurt children
Oh yeah.
or women, they deal inside very differently with you.
True.
Yes, they do.
Am I wrong about that?
No,
Because
you're right.
I know that to be true.
It's
They
true.
deal with you differently. So the way you got down is how you about to try to get back up once you get in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with that said, I don't.
I got you.
So we thank you for that, and I'm grateful that he was. I'm tired of
Convicted
being
and arrested.
composed and Zinga. I've been a good girl this week.
You really have.
It's
It's one of those.
help.
Yeah,
'Cause, sis.
Well, it's the lay of the land. A lot of your travels this week was your Nehemiah moments, checking the lay of the land. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually knowing how to go forth, and now also back in the natural knowing how. And it's one thing when folk invite you places and just want you to be a part of a setting, but not really want the true essence of you to be who you are in Him. So what we say is, go check the land now. But what they don't know either is that was the only time that will ever happen. And now, as they, may want to reconsider, because because it's like the one you saw that time, you won't see that one again. You see the one whom God has chosen and has sent. But you had to check the land, survey the land to come back to know how to mount up and how to bring us all in together to what is really going on.
Really going on.
Not even underground, but even on top of the ground.
Yes.
And so, it's one of those moments where the enemy would love to continue to shake the core of God's foundation to make folk become more irritated and angry and out of control to deal with it in a natural sense when we know it's all spiritual.
Yeah.
And when we can survey the land to see what's happening all in the natural,
Come on, sis.
it helps us to mount up spiritually on how to really fight.
Right.
And the fighting spiritually will take care of what's happening in the natural.
Come on.
So that's why I keep sending you to go.
Well.
So even with Gutierrez, in him was a spiritual fight. Unfortunately, he gave in prey to the enemy. And unfortunately, so we pray for the souls and the spirits of the babies that were hurt.
Yes.
And that he not only received deliverance, but he has to also receive forgiveness. Now, what happens in here? But still, for every action there is
reaction.
reaction. That's already in place and on course.
Equal reaction.
It's always in place and on course. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's going to happen no matter what we do, but we still can pray for them and for him and for the families and all. But what has happened, there is a price to pay for it.
And I'm thankful for your balance to this, because I think because of this week and the stories and the pain and the late evening, just doing the stitching
Yes.
of what has been broken for so long.
Yes.
I think the first word for me wasn't forgiveness.
I know.
So I appreciate you today.
No,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Because we have to look at it
thank you.
in many different ways of what happens. And I was watching your group last night, with Farah and Jacqueline and Alicia
Right.
on Isaiah Carey last night. He
Right.
did a whole segment
Yeah.
on sex trafficking
Yeah.
and the non-traffic zone now at NRG. He did
Right.
a whole thing on it. And
Right.
just to hear them sit and say, Farah especially talking about the people of color that are being charged so much more in what they do than anyone else,
Yes.
and that it's international, it's global. The same
Yes.
thing is happening globally
Right.
around the world. And so for her to say that it opens doors and open eyes to see again, it has not been just the dark and brown community crying wolf. If you have an ambassador of human trafficking from the United Nations to come and say, no, this is what we see globally.
Yes.
It is not just in your backyard. This
Right.
is what you see globally, and this is how it should be dealt with.
Right.
Because they have issues too.
Right.
The ones that are the perpetrators.
Right.
The ones that are pushing, the pimps and all of that, they have issues too. And so she said, let's look at it at a higher
At a
level
broader level. you're
Right.
than what you've been looking at it.
Oh, yes. And that's the thing. And so today we celebrate, and that's why this story is, again, poignant, because it's every day, all day. It's not it's not 1 month, even though January was the official sex trafficking month. HOH will be doing February, because in my mind it's March, April, May, June, July, and I'm wearing a bracelet. And if you're watching in, this bracelet is something you may have seen them wearing last night. And this bracelet is, if you look at it, it's really cool and it matches my sweatshirt and that's cool, but it's actually the symbol of bondage. It actually is like a cuff, a hand cuff. And so this is saying that we should stop or advocate against trafficking. You know, and these are the things they actually will tie you up. And many of the women with us yesterday have been actually bound, raped, tortured for periods of time. And so with that said, proceeds will go to this organization. We did a lot of talking, a lot of meeting, a lot of crying, a lot of dreaming. And I was there with a couple of them until like 8:45 last night. And it was to simply those that were on Isaiah Carey. But the fact is, once the cameras go down, when everything's over, the hurt is still there.
Yes.
And yesterday was an unprecedented historical mark. And I want to give a shout out to NRG. I'm happy to be a part of this team that says Houston, the first sports park in the nation, has officially declared a no trafficking zone in the United States of America.
Yes.
And so what this means is that any area, it's now going to be funding pipelined into it. That's what it's going to be new legislation attempted. We have the ear of legislation, Congress, lawmakers, but we're also going to be teaching in the churches, in the schools. We're going to have the same common language, the same lingo. So if I say a code word, you know the code word.
Yes.
If you know of a safe house, I know the safe house.
Yes.
If you know a cycle and you see it in a child or in a clinic, we all understand the same settings, so we can be a proactive approach to this continuum of hell that we see every day, all day. And so each of us play a different role. And yesterday was pretty much officially saying all of the puzzle pieces are going to come together and we're going to unite from every background, faith-based, nonprofit, lawmakers and such, and how we're going to all rally behind this. So within that area, there's going to be now awareness. There's going to also be accountability. There's going to be a certain number that will be manned, a crisis number, if you see it in the area. If you're there, it will be heavy fines within that area. If you're found some way digitally, we're looking at how to understand that IP address, how it maps to that area. Why? Because if we can just take control of this area, then it's kind of where we can continue to spread it. Just like Alicia said yesterday, if you can imagine she was kidnapped, put in a trunk, kept in a basement, he was trying to take her to die. They found her. That's why she's alive and sharing her story. He tortured her every day, told her he had gotten too close to her. He was about to take her for a drive. She was miraculously found with no clothes on, cuffed at 14 years of age. She was the first case of abduction in history on the internet.
Wow.
She said, but the reason that they even found her was he had her being videotaped for the first time, internet being used. So the black market was already set up. This is 2001, AOL dial-up. So here she is on dial-up, and the black market is watching him torture, and he's cheering it on. Like, look at me do this, guys. But people are watching. One of the bad guys reported him. So she said, imagine, she goes, because bad reported bad, but now imagine if good does good. What more can happen? And so with that said, the stories were compelling. Again, you didn't get to see all of that on the press conference, but the idea is that this bracelet means something if you see us wearing it, even tonight, even if it doesn't match our wonderful outfits. It says this is a sign of what it looks like for male and females, young and old. This trafficking that we're sitting in front of right now, we sit within feet of prostitutes where we are right now. We can't sit by. They say basically if you do nothing and say nothing, that you're part of it. Basically, you're collectively allowing it to happen, and we can't stay there. So with that said, we're very excited about NRG and what will happen. The NTZ, the No Trafficking Zone, is in full effect. We're excited about it, but what will you do with it? When we ask you to help us, will you? That's really the question here. So that's the good news. I'm sticking to it. Shout out to all of the people that are doing the great works. But guess what? My God is going to get the glory.
Amen.
Abba will get the glory for this.
Amen.
So when we come back, you're about to get it all that they have to give. I'm so excited. BT, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Robert
Good
Kennan,
morning.
you ready?
I'm ready.
We're about to take this break, and when we come back, financial
Matthew,
fitness
Mark,
is coming.
Luke and John.
Let's get it. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
So I do it maybe for the national holiday.
It's tree of peace. I extend to you peace of hope. We come to you with a branch and a root that shall deeply be planted for thousands.
And so, as we open up the final part to the Peace Tree Initiative, each rock has been done individually for each family, with each one having a variety of just scripture and messages. Look at the hands that did that. God, you get the glory in this. When I even got somebody who said they'll come out here and do prices picks, but they take a 2-hour delay. But when I got a girl getting turned on the street by a pimp, I don't have 2 hours. I don't have 2 hours. When I see her getting turned on,
That's one for
Are
you,
you gonna do
and that's
this time
one for
or
me.
you going straight to
yes.
I'll put these on.
Let's give it.
And you can get the left one. And that's that for you. Hey, what are you doing? I'm making a whole bag.
You want the little money box?
But for
That's
who?
fine.
For the people that need whole bags.
Okay, well,
Oh,
why you got two
One
of
for
them?
you. Because this was mine.
Yours?
This is theirs.
So we make these for other people, not yourself.
But I need hope.
You need hope.
One for you.
No, you're messing up. Now you said one for you. But we are making bags for the other people, you know, because
You need to create a whole bunch of these songs. I'm just like looking at y'all like, what we doing? Too much talent.
Get ready. Financial Fitness Friday. Here we
Oh,
go.
wait, hold on.
Uh-oh, wait a
Put that in the
minute.
house.
Wait a minute.
Put that in the house.
Every time the bunny come out, every time.
Come on in. Are we in? Are we up?
The mighty dollar.
3, 2, 1. And this is when we say it's a moment in history under that nice sound of that money music. What's the moment in history, 81L?
Well, you know, I need for people to understand the things that happened, okay? And I don't think that they understand that in 1949, the first daytime soap opera called These Are My Children was created, okay? It was 15 minutes for 5 days. It lasted from January 31st to March the 4th, and they targeted mothers and the soap company, Procter & Gamble. But it's not like all my children. It was, these are my children, okay? And then, back in 1865, the U.S. Congress passed the 13th Amendment for the U.S. Constitution abolishing slavery and submitting it to the states, ratification of 2/3 of them, okay? In 1930, 3M began making Scotch tape.
Yeah, Scotch tape. Come through.
Okay? And then I did this one for Beezy. This was what made me want to bring it out. 80 years ago, the first Social Security check was distributed in the United States of America to a 65-year-old woman named May Fuller in Ludlow, Vermont. And she collected, get this, a whopping $22.54
Oh,
a
my
month.
goodness. $22
Until she
a month.
died at the age of 100, she totally collected from the Social Security $22,888. And
She
that,
just stuck with the 22. Huh?
that's your look back in history. That's your look back
That's your
in history.
That's history.
That's history.
That's the history from 81L, but I never saw it.
whopping.
She made it sound good.
$22.
And that's news you can use,
54
courtesy of
cents.
Elle and somebody who will one day sponsor Elle's position, because that's
That's
what we should be
right.
talking about.
Amen.
Good stuff
That's
this
right.
day in history. Money. You heard it from Elle, 81. I'm going to let y'all segue into that one. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. We are excited this morning.
Yep.
Why? Because we have $22
You know what? Laugh if y'all want. We
to
don't have
invest
That's
From-
a good one, BZ.
our Social Security checks.
That's right.
So today, I guess that was what you say 80 years ago.
80 years ago.
So it's probably now $22.75
Oh, wow.
because of inflation.
Oh,
Ooh, we got a raise.
Sir BZ.
We got
You
a
always
raise.
know how to spend the positive.
shooting
BZ.
darts.
Well, for one thing, we don't want to depend on the Social Security system because we know
Right.
that it's not going to be there for the younger generation. And on top of that, that system already doesn't work because once you go to Walmart and you check out and you are headed out the door, who do you see?
Grandma.
You see the greeters. And the greeters are the elderly people who depended on 40 years of working for someone else and attempting to live off of Social Security and Medicare. And they cannot survive. They have to work a supplemental job just to make it. So today, what is it that you have to do so you will not go down that same road? And it all depends on the mindset. God says in Romans chapter 12 and 2, you shall be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Amen. Amen.
And your thought process is what keeps you in captivity. It keeps you enslaved. Bondage. You have to change your mindset. So today I have an amazing gentleman that's here, that's a guest on the show today, who his past actions have gotten him some experiences that I'm sure he's not happy about. However, he's turned those experiences into success.
Amen.
Amen.
Why? Because of his mindset.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So let's welcome to the show today,
Segment.
Mr. Robert Keenan.
Mr. We Buy Houses Cash.
Appreciate you guys. It's always an honor and a blessing to be a part of you guys' energy and just this community of what you guys share. So I'm very thankful for Miss Wendy and Brian and the rest of the team. You guys are really some people that we was really inspired to come back. We was like, man, that felt good.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, you got up
So,
early
yeah,
then. Yeah.
absolutely. So we definitely honored for this, opportunity to share my story and my student Matt's journey and story as well. So we thankful.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. So he's planting seeds in the younger generation. So he's taking his experiences and he is teaching the youth, which I also have a passion about.
Amen.
Because the earlier you start learning about money, the better off your life can be.
Right.
And that's one thing our culture did not do. I cannot remember not one conversation with my mom talking about money. First of all, we didn't have any. I grew up on food stamps. I remember those days when the government cheese, the big old box, and we would have to go to Kuntz, Texas. We had to go out there, and that's where we get our milk and our cheese and things of that nature. And however, as a young teenager, working at Brookshire Brothers was my first job. And at that moment, I did not like working for someone else. So my mindset back then was always entrepreneurship. I wanted to get back my time. And so that mindset was already there. I just wasn't in the proper environment to cultivate it. So once I graduated high school, threw up the hat. Before the hat fell on the ground, I was already gone and left out of Silsbee. So went into the military. That was my way to get out. And moved to Houston and got around some very successful people who imparted and impacted my life in a major way. And that's how I came connected to this gentleman sitting to my right. So with that mindset that we have to change and keep in mind, according to the Bible in Romans chapter 12 and 2, I want to ask you this, Robert. How has your mindset changed from your past to your present?
Well, first and foremost, I want to give all the glory and honor to God. Thankful for this time. And great question, man. Mindset has been everything that has played a part in my life from back then to now. And it actually changed tremendously because I look at the way I was living back then to who I was, because I was only limited to what I was around. I adapted to everything that I was around, so that's what I was striving to be. And I thought it was a great thing, but it was really keeping me in bondage. And I had to get liberated. You know, it's not no easy process coming from the hood and changing your mind just like I'm gonna change tomorrow.
Right.
You know, it's just like you have a habit. It takes time to release that habit from you. You know what I'm saying? They say it takes 21 days to change a habit. So it took me time to go through that process, but I had to work on it in order to make the transition to where I'm at now. And I think by me going to prison, that's what gave me that place of genius where I was able to really focus in on my thoughts. And that's where my shift started manifesting. And it came with me just being open-minded to want to see a different path for my vision, because old mindset and my mindset I have now, they correlates but in two different functions. You know what I'm saying? Because I was already being an entrepreneur back then. You know what I'm saying? But I was just directing my energy in a different way. And Napoleon Hill talked about this in Think and Grow Rich. He always talked about a definite purpose, a definite chief aim, and accurate thinking and all these things. So once I started putting these things on paper and I started feeding my mind, that's when I was able to get liberated with that new open-mindedness.
Wow. And that's a beautiful thing. And forgive me, listeners. Let me give you an introduction to who you are listening to, because and why you should be listening. This is a gentleman who, correct me if I'm wrong, is a 3-time felon? Or
Well,
2?
for one, I've been in federal prison one time.
Okay.
And I just did several violations after that, probably like 4 violations.
Okay, gotcha. So his past he has been to prison. And those experiences, and while he was locked up behind bars, he took advantage of the time that he was in to get educated on understanding how money works. And once he was released, he took that knowledge and created success. So a lot of our culture, all the hustle that most young men do and women, we get those experiences and we feel defeated. However, this gentleman took that experience, instead of feeling defeated, he came out and said, how can I elevate?
He actually made a whole book title.
Whole book title.
When he said, Prison, My Path to Genius. When you said that, I'm sitting there like, who says in prison I found my path to genius?
Right.
That was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, ding, ding, ding.
Right.
That's because you don't get to hear those together.
Right.
Right.
That was a profound, that was life-changing.
Wow. Thank you.
Right. So that's what he did a genius path, right?
Absolutely.
So from this is what you're saying. So what is a genius? A genius anyway breaks the mold of thinking. They think to a place where the woman we were talking about earlier offline, she's a registered genius, like literally. That's what she literally is. And so her mind is so amazing, and the way it adapts quickly to whatever her knowledge base is how she's gifted to just naturally learn. What you're saying is prison allowed you, what he is saying and what you both are saying, prison allowed you to become.
Right.
That's powerful.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
So now, Bryant, I'm sorry. I just had to make sure. I'm not sorry, but I wanted to
No,
ensure
thank
that you
you.
got that prison path to genius.
Thank you. So yeah, if you don't mind, go ahead and share a bit of your past into where you are now in your present and how your mindset was a big part of that.
Well, the past, like Miss Wendy was saying, the path to genius. Because if I never would have went to prison, I know for sure I'd still be selling drugs. Because that was my ambition. That was the thing. And when you're involved into these, you know, I grew up watching my brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made me want to go into the game. And school was boring, man. To be honest, you know what I'm saying. So you
Got a
know,
question real quick. Which hood did you grow up in?
I grew up in South Park, the Third Ward.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm originated from. All my uncles and cousins stay in Third Ward. My grandma from South Park and my mom stayed in Yellowstone. So I was all through those areas, and I went to school in Sunnyside, the Worden.
And see, I had to come in because that's where 8100 is from. We from South Park.
Okay.
Jutland and Marcy, like
Okay.
for real,
Yeah,
Hersheywood,
that's
8100.
my area.
And I wanted the viewers to understand that it is a daily walking out your door is what you see. I
Right.
mean, we didn't see big, beautiful houses or even roads that didn't have potholes in them.
Right.
Our schools were rivals against each other. We
Right.
were rivals. Like, you got kids that's not wearing nice clothes against kids that are wearing nice clothes. And the same, there was no collectivification
Right.
in the hood system. So I just wanted to let you know you're not alone. I
Absolutely.
understand.
Appreciate that. And that was my motivation, to be honest, because like you said, we don't grow up in the nicest areas, and seeing my mom and them have to work all these long hours and stuff like that, and that shifted my mind. I'm like, man, I gotta make me some money so I can make a move. You know what I'm saying? And not knowing those things was hurting me behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Nobody thinks about wrong, you know, when you're doing it. You just thinking you're doing it for a cause. And I was doing it for a cause to get myself out the place that I was, but I was putting myself more into the life that I was living. And I was affecting a lot of people that I didn't know until, you know, you go through, you know, once you come to Christ, you start seeing the things that you have done. And I'm glad. Like today, I was on 1 Joshua 5-9, studying. You know, if you don't study success day and night, you just, you know, that's the path, and that's what I had to do to change my mindset. I had to go on an obsession. I had to start. I had to start investing into myself. The last 3 years, I probably spent close to $100,000 into going to seminars and on coaches, and just going to other countries. That's putting myself in a place of peace, so that I can have the thoughts, and that's why I keep my journal with me, so that I can be directed towards my future.
Wow. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because most people don't think that's important. You spent $100,000 and invested
In
in
yourself.
himself.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah,
on,
yeah.
wait.
Wendy almost fell out to tell people, so please excuse the shenanigans that was going on.
We had a moment.
It's not to take away from what
We had a
our dear
moment.
brother was saying.
No, it wasn't. No, it
He
wasn't.
almost fell out the chair. Literally, I couldn't get it. Was
When you said what you invested in yourself, she almost fell out.
wait.
Well,
'cause
Well, think about it. LeBron James invested $1 million in himself, in his physical and the way he eats, because that's his temple. That's where he gets his income from. So he put the investment back into himself. So he spent over $1 million
That's right.
with the proper training,
That's
the
right.
proper nutritionist.
That's right.
That's what you do.
Yes, he does.
That's smart.
Yes, he did. And you know what? Y'all didn't see the other part. This was in Zynga.
Thank you.
And it was a good thing. It was when you said that we clapping over here because we said Joshua, it's a good thing. We just love you. That's all. So we're doing this like, oh,
It's
so
not
we're-
a lot of black men your age that are
Boom,
doing that.
boom,
that
boom
come
dot
from where you
com,
come
okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, so for those who don't have that type of money, what advice can you give them to get started to invest in themselves?
Well, first you have to have a definite purpose, because everybody, you know, not directed to do real estate. Everybody have their own calling and purpose. You really got to find something that you're passionate about to really see it that it ain't no work. First, you have to start writing down the goal. You have to find something that you're good at. you have to see what type of product of service that you can add value to, because being a salesman, you selling a product,
Right.
and you have to have a customer service type of mindset that you got to go in here and extract something that you desire from your own personal resources, because being an entrepreneur, you have to extract your check. You know what I'm saying? And it's different from a job. I always tell people, work your job, but if you don't work part-time on your fortune, you'll still just be slave to that job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I learned that from Dr. Miles Monroe, very prolific guy. And that's what I was doing. You have to change something that you know that you can bring value to. And that's why, like me, I didn't have no idea about real estate. But while I was going through the process, I said, man, what can I do to make the money that I was making, like I was making selling drugs? Real estate. Real estate came into that perspective. So
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is Robert doing now? Like, what is one of the projects that makes Robert happy that he's working on with real estate today, 2020?
today, buying homes and giving people the opportunity to own their home a little faster, because I buy homes cash and I turn around owner finance. So you don't have to go through the banks dealing with me. So your down payment is your entry into one of my homes. And I'm tapping into a lot of markets from Houston to Beaumont. And I'm giving people those opportunities to own a home, not have to go, if you buy a home through a bank, you're going through a 30-year process.
Right. That was my question. I was going to ask.
With me, I give you options. If I buy a house cash, I turn around and because I'm the bank.
Right.
And I turn around and sell those homes. And if you want to pay it off in 10 years, we give you that option. If you want to pay it off in 15 years, we give you that option. If you want to pay it off in 20 years, we give you that option. So I'm giving people empowerment of to be homeowners early.
Which is something that you don't even get in the hood. Like, I'm kind of with Beezy, where I never had that talk about money. I would see my grandmother do a budget. I knew she was the one that I worked at Foley's for 20 years, and then I'm a retire, and this is what we got for budget, and make sure your credit is good. But didn't explain about credit.
Right.
Didn't explain about credit cards and investments. I mean, it was just nobody in the area understands that. So I really appreciate that you can look how to empower where we came from and with the option, because you got people 80 years old still renting houses.
Absolutely. Find that a lot.
Yeah.
So what's your median age range or income range that your properties target?
Majority of all my properties are in the communities where I come from Beaumont to Houston, from South Park to Northside to Acres Home. You know what I'm saying? And it's really based off where I buy the house at, and I don't care what you make.
Yeah.
But I focus more on the lower demographic areas.
Okay.
Because that's where the need is at, and a lot of in those communities, a lot of our communities are being revitalized, and a lot of people are moving out because they can't afford the taxes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's my duty to stay dominant in my areas, because that's where I know, and that's where I know I can add value at. So I'm giving those people those opportunities based off my assessments on the properties that I buy.
So are you rehabbing them, or are they as is?
As is.
Okay.
That's what's so beautiful about owner finance, because if you buy one of my products, you get to, you getting it at a good price, and you get to fix it up as you choose.
But what about internal structures such as pipes, electrical?
Well, that's just based, because every owner finance house I bought, I have never had to fix up. So anytime somebody buy those properties, they already have one of my owner finance properties, they have a mindset that they're gonna have to do some type of work.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the expectations.
But I'm speaking like, the major game changers, the ones that would actually have you cause a pause on even purchasing.
Right.
So when you're the buyer first, do you take a look and say, well, I know I'm going to give this house as is. I want to at least ensure the electrical, the plumbing, you know what I'm saying, the studs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the foundation. Do you attempt to try to make sure those things are not lemons, for lack of a better word?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Anytime we, Because if a house is not up to the expectations, that's where we'll sell that to an investor and let them handle that part, and they fix it up and rehab it. Any house that I buy, I have contractors and all that to make sure that this is something that it can be something for a family.
Okay, so there's an integrity piece behind what you do, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Is there a success story? Someone that said, thank you because I didn't, and it's just something you've actually seen where complete gratitude was shown through one of these situations. Do you have a story that has touched your heart based on this that you do?
A story like as far as in real estate?
Somebody who you personally have impacted
customer.
because you,
A customer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a young lady, and I deal with her whole family right now. She's from Mexico.
Wow.
And she didn't have a green card or nothing like that. And this was 3 years ago. And that's a stagnation for a lot of people coming into this country. And I just believed in her for some reason because she was so adamant. Saying, Mr. Robert, I need a house and this and this. And it wasn't even about the money, even though I made some money on this deal. And I deal with a lady from China who helped me fund a lot of houses that I buy. And I convinced her, like, once we bought this house, we was going to rehab it, and we was going to make a significant amount of money. This is in Herman Clark. And this lady kept on telling me, Mr. Robert, I need a house. And something just said, let me just have this woman come by here and check this house out. You know what I'm saying? Even though that me and my private lender committed to rehab this house. Man, the lady came by the house, checked it out. It was a 2-story house. And she said, I love it. And it needed work. And but she wanted the house so bad. And in that process, it just, you know, even though I know I made the commitment with my private lender to rehab this house, but when she came over there, it really touched me because this woman really wanted a house and she had kids. And they had the money, but they just didn't have the proper identification. So, you know what? I betted on this lady, Miss Sorrows. I got her number in my phone. And by me betting on Miss Sorrows, she not only halfway finished paying for that house, because they like to double and triple their payments. That's why I love the Hispanic people. They really 5 days before, all type of stuff. And this lady not only turned me on to her daughter, I bought a house and sold one to her daughter. Now I got one I'm selling to one of her best friends. She just turned her whole network on to me.
Amen.
And this lady is so blessed right now because of that opportunity. And fixed the house up. The house looked amazing. And I was able to convince my private lender, a lady that believed in me, to owner finance that house to that lady so that we can make that happen.
Amen.
Beautiful.
Amen. That's following that other self. Be a part of the mastermind group on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil.
That's it. That's what's going on. Guess what, y'all? It's 7 o'clock on the dot.
I'm in my drop. Oh,
Yep, you're not in the drop top, but you're definitely getting some dropped information of knowledge, man. Listen, that was a story in itself. What can you do to find out more? Let me tell you. We buy houses cash. 713-766-6989. Again, that number is 713-766-6989. Robert Keenan is here. We hope and pray that he is continuing to be a part of our family.
Yes.
Matthew is learning from him.
Matthew Mark and
Matthew is a student, and we can't wait till you know you can't just stay quiet much longer.
No.
Okay, because I know you've done something as well with him. I know you can tell us something of your timeline because your story of how you are a mentee will bless others as to the fact, can they do it too? The answer is yes. So when we come back again, it's your turn, sir, next time.
Have your notes, Matthew.
Have your notes. Father, we thank you for this
Thank
day.
you. Yes,
We
Lord.
thank you for grace and glory. We thank you, God, that it's all yours.
to you, Lord.
Have Friday be faith-filled today, oh God. Walk with each and every one in this room. Lord, let your words manifest. Make the heart of man become what you want.
Yes.
And we will give you the praise, honor, and the glory.
Yes, oh Lord.
In the name of
In the name of
Jesus.
Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
That's all we got, family. Rise up and pray. This is it. HOH 77.7. Get the app. We love you. We out.
Out.
Bye, everybody.
Mr. Keenan, what's the phone number
That was
again?
nice.
713-766-6989.
Yes, that's awesome.
I just, okay.
All right, guys, thank you so very much for
That would have
tuning in.
stopped the whole station. Sorry, when you said
Make sure
stop.
that you go on to YouTube, Hope Over Her Nation, subscribe, like, and share. Also, download the app. Also, it's a whole bunch of y'all